All right, so the next part we're going to do is we're going to take that whole where the tenderloins were. These are the tenderloins. That was that big back where I cut the fourth rib up. We've just gone ahead and chopped off those remaining ribs at the front here. And this is where the butt end was, or the butt end was here and the ribs were here. We've just cut those ribs off. And that little part of the butt at the end of the tenderloins. So now what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to take it to my bandsaw and I'm going to cut right where the tenderloins stop getting thickest, because from here to here these are actually the T-bone steaks. And the reason why they call them the T-bone steaks is that's where it's got both the thicker part of the back meat separated by a bone, the backbone, and then we have the tenderloin on this side. But you get that perfect equal size of meat on each side of the bone where that T is going to be. And you'll see that once I get cutting this with my bandsaw. From here, about here where the tenderloin starts getting smaller, I'm going to be splitting this. The whole thing will be split down the back, along the backbone on my bandsaw. And then from here up, I'm going to be cutting these into porterhouse steaks, because a porterhouse steaks has the meat, a lot of the meat on one side and very little meat on the other side of where the T-bone is, or where the rib bones began, because that's what makes that look like T-bone steaks. So I'm going to split these with my bandsaw before we move on to making these into the separate steaks. But I just wanted to show you how it looks while it's whole, after we've cut it out the moose and just cut off those four ribs that were here. And then that right where the tenderloin ends, we just use the Sawzall and cut that butt off of there. We harvested everything we could off of that, what was remaining on that butt steaks. A lot of that will be going for grind or stew meat, because it is nice tender meat as well. But this, I'm going to show you how I'll do the steaks. But first, I'm going to split it right down the center with my bandsaw, and then down right where the separation is between the T-bone steaks and the porterhouse steaks on this side. But I just wanted to show you how it looks before I cut it with the bandsaw. And we're not going to film cutting it with a bandsaw, just because I go slow and it takes a little bit too much time and noise. So once I've got them split, then I'm going to show you the rest of the process. All right, so we're going to finish the process of cutting these T-bone steaks, and I'll just show you how it looked when it was together. So that was that back half where we got the tenderloins in here, and then we've got the backbone over here. I've just split them, so these are separate, and I've got my T-bones, and then the front half here that was attached here, or attached like this. These are going to be my porterhouse steaks. So I just split it there and split those porterhouse in half. So now I'm going to cut the T-bones. So I'm going to lay this so that this side is flat against my guide here. I'm going to set my guide to probably about maybe just over an inch, because it's going to vary a little, but I'm going to go just over an inch. And you just set yours however thick you want your steaks on your guides. So this will be my first cut I want to make sure that all my guides are set so I'm not going to run out of room. And carefully cut my T-bone. So now you see the T there, and you see the tenderloin over here, and these are the porterhouse. So the back part is bigger, and then the tenderloin is just smaller, and that's why we call it a porterhouse and not a T-bone. T-bone, they'd be equal size of meat on each side of that bone. So that's one T-bone. I'm going to move my saw back, move it against my guide again, make my second. So again, there you see it. Perfect T-bone here, nice thick T-bone. And again here, tenderloin side is small and that back part is big. Bring it back. I think I'm going to go just a little bit thinner because these are a little bit too thick for my liking. So I'm going to take them to about 1 inch. You'll see that's a little better. You can see the T-bone there. Then you see the back side and the tenderloin side here. Leave it at 1 inch. There we go again. We see this starting to fall apart. It's because it's ideally I would have froze this first and get it half frozen. Then I'd get nice cleaner cuts. But again, we're getting this processed immediately while this moose was fresh. Again there, nice steak. Another nice steak. Now you could see they're getting larger because that tenderloin was getting closer to where the where my larger T-bones would have been. And since they're getting a little bit bigger like that, this piece I'm actually going to leave just for a roast as is with the bone in. Just because it's getting a little bit too, it's not firmed up here. And I don't have time or to get them half frozen where I could cut them better. But I'm just going to use this as a roast. Perfect roast. Some of that tenderloin in there in the back. So I'll finish, that's one of the porterhouse. I'm just going to get the other one ready and we'll show you how to do the T-bones. All right, so we finished using our bandsaw to cut our porterhouse. Again here, see, porterhouse has the big piece of meat on the back and really nothing on the front. As well as our T-bones, which has that T-bone in the middle, and then almost equal size of meat. We've got the tenderloin and the back strap back meat here, and you can see them here. They're all the same. But again, there, just wanted to show you how we're not wasting. That's the biggest thing of all of this, and the reason for showing this. Look at how many steaks we've got. Like we've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26 steaks. 26 steaks out of that back piece. As well as some beautiful back roasts, which was the bigger ends that were not quite uniform or even, but these are perfect roasts. So we've got 4 roasts, as well as 26 steaks out of that back piece. And one thing I wanted to point out is a lot of times people will just cut those tenderloins off and then take off whatever they can off the back strap off of a moose. But there's so much that gets left behind because no matter how good you are at cutting backstrap off, you're always leaving a bunch of meat on that backbone, as well as that inner parts of the ribs. It's always meat that's left there. Perfectly good utilize meat that you can utilize at home for eating. And this way we got everything. We've got the whole backbone is with our T-bones, as well as our tenderloin and our back strap still intact in there. Bottom line is we've got a whole lot of meat here that's going to keep for a really long time once we vacuum seal it and package it up nicely and freeze it. Going to keep for a really long time. Healthy, clean meat. We know that we know where this moose came from. We know that it's just been eating whatever its natural foods. There's no chemicals or anything inside this meat. But we just wanted to show you that because we wanted to show that we utilize everything. Nothing goes to waste. And that's what our elders keep pushing on us, that we can't be wasting anything, not when an animal like a moose gives itself for us. So these are the steaks. We're going to go on and vacuum seal these and get them all packaged up nicely for putting in the freezer. And then we'll move on to the next